Hello and welcome to the Making It in Asheville podcast. I'm your host, Tony Bertaccio. On the Making It in Asheville podcast, each week we sit down with a Asheville-based entrepreneur, small business owner, maker of some sort. We ask them what they're making and how they are making it in Asheville. This season, you might know, is a e-commerce-based season. We are hosted by the lovely Ernest Warehousing. And if you're not watching on YouTube, we're in it right now. And we have beautiful necklaces and bracelets. And SoulKu, co-founder of SoulKu, Elisa Van Arnam. Elisa Van Arnam is here, and I'm fumbling over your name, Elisa. Please say hello and welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome. Welcome. I'm welcoming you. It is great to have you here.
Thank you.
Today.
It's so awesome to be here.
Thank you. I hope that you feel that way at the end of the conversation.
Okay.
So here comes the hard-hitting question.
Okay.
SoulKu. What is SoulKu? When did you start SoulKu? What's going on with SoulKu?
So SoulKu is a Gemstone jewelry brand. We're an inspirational, spiritual-based business. We are here in Asheville, as you said, founded in Asheville in 2011. Wow. We originally started out making inspirational cards, and they were pass and track cards. So it was like an inspirational message. It had a QR code on the back. You could register it to your email address. You could pass it from person to person. You could track it all over everywhere. And it didn't work. Nobody wanted to pass them once they had them. They wanted to keep them. They didn't move them along down the line. And so we and the QR codes at that time, people just thought that they were like a scam or like advertisements or whatever. It wasn't working. We were ahead of our time.
12 years
2011.
ago, QR codes.
Yeah.
It was like you had to have a QR app, I imagine, to even read it. It wasn't built into phones back then.
It was, but the technology just wasn't like big, like it is now, that like everybody knows what that is.
And the pandemic QR codes, now they finally work. Everyone knows.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Wow.
So then we moved on to just like regular inspirational cards. And we had just different like namaste cards and thank you cards and things like that. And they just didn't sell either. And so like as true moms that we had like a limited budget, and we were like, this was all we have. We've got to figure out some way to make this work for us. So we started doctoring the cards. We like cut slits in them. We put stickers on them. And at the time I was studying all about the healing properties of gemstones. And I thought, we could put a piece of jewelry on these cards and, talk about the healing properties of them and cut off the bottoms and, try and make that work. And neither one of us, my business partner, Allison, or myself, were jewelry makers. Sure. So we came up with this nylon cord that was like the simplest thing because we didn't know how to solder. We had no idea what we were doing, but we were like, this could work. And we did that. And somehow a rep group in California saw our website and called us and said, we would like to represent you. And we were like, we have like 4 products on like broken cards. We couldn't believe it. And we gave those to them and they took them to people and they sold them at stores.
Wow.
And it was just a weird way that it unfolded just in a completely, one of those things where you're just like, we're just open to the universe and whatever is going to happen here. And we have a budget and a limited amount of time to make this work. And it worked. And then we just started getting orders from stores all over California. And we made everything sitting at her kitchen table. Yeah. And then had enough orders that we had to ask our friends who happened to be we were stay-at-home moms at the time, lucky enough to be stay-at-home moms. And we asked other friends who were stay-at-home moms if they would help us. And they were like, sure. And then here we are.
So that's wild and
Totally wild.
right out of the gate. So much velocity and excitement in that story. So we're running back. It's 2011.
Yeah.
You have this clearly home run, big idea of some sort of like thoughtful card, inspirational card that ends up getting passed along and nothing happens. How long do you give that V1 idea before you're like, there's nothing here?
Yeah, I think we gave it about a year, year and a half.
Okay. So we're into 2012, almost 2013.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no. The hallmark of 2012, we're going to be the next card makers.
Yes.
How long does that get, an honest try before you're throwing stuff into the card?
I mean, we just, we tried. That was about a year.
Okay.
About a year. I mean, we even went to like some trade shows. Sure. We had somebody who was willing to represent us, sort of, but she was like, "You're going to have to do all the work," and it just we just saw the writing on the wall.
So it's almost 2014-ish before stones are in the equation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so now this is the first time that I can tell where you're managing some sort of like inventory that's not just like card stock.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about things? You've swung and missed now for a while. Now all of a sudden you're going to buy a bunch of quartz or a bunch of like, because there's actual cost. It's not just design and
yeah.
paper.
Let's put some more money into it. See what happens.
Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I think most people would have said, you know what, we should just be friends. Like we should be business partners. Like you're in it at a while.
I don't know. Allison and I just think we're from totally different ends of the spectrum. She is her area of expertise. Her degree is in risk management for insurance, which is great for an entrepreneurial situation. And mine was in like film and television. And so I don't know. And most importantly, we were both moms. Yeah. And
were you neighbors? Like, did you live right next to each other?
No, we were in a book club. We met through a book club when everybody was in a book club, but it was like a really intense book club. And, you would read the book and people would spend all day like milking their goat to make that goat into goat cheese to eat for the dinner, for the special dinner that was based around whatever happened on the, I mean, it was really intense. Cool. And Allison and I would be like, I will bring the wine, or I can bring bread. It was overwhelming to both of us. And so we kind of like left this book club together. Like we're not good enough. We're not worthy for this book club. And we just started talking and our families got along really well. Our dogs got along. Our kids were about the same ages. Yeah. And we both really wanted to do something when like the last one to go to kindergarten was my daughter. And so when they went to school, we wanted to do something. Yeah. And so we took a foundations class at Mount Bisworks for a completely different idea. And I won't even go there.
So not even one that we've heard about so far?
No, it's not even one of the ones we've heard about. It was, we wanted to make films for companies to help them to articulate their missions.
Cool.
But in order to do that, it looked like we needed about $125,000 to launch that thing. And we each were willing to put in, like our families were willing to put in like $10,000 each. Sure. And that was it. So we whittled down. We whittled down. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, something that we've always done is just focus on what is our mission? What are we doing? And then that could be making films for companies to inspire them or re-inspire them. That could be inspirational cards. That could be a piece of jewelry that, inspires you. it's all really the same thing. It's just different vehicles.
Yeah, and you connected those dots. That's what I was going to ask.
Oh, sorry.
No, if I was going, the next question would have been, and while the QR, inspiration didn't work, and then the greeting card concept that was meant to inspire didn't work, and now all of a sudden we hit something, it works. They're all iterations of it seems to be the same intent.
Yeah.
Right. And what is the intent? Do you have language for it today?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's to be in service. And whether that is connecting people with each other or connecting people with themselves, whether it's helping people feel inspired or helping people get through a rough time or celebrate and something really special or honor someone, it's all of that. It's being in service to those ideals. And I think when we feel lost, which happens a lot in this, road, it's just critical for us to go back there and be like, oh yeah, we're in service. We're in service. We're in service. We're in service. So, that's the glue that keeps it all together.
Heard. Well, that's beautiful. And I imagine the very beginning of there's traction and we're doing it at home and now we have to ask friends was new, if nothing else, a new-ish feeling. What in those early days, you said we're in service. Maybe that was the motto, but like, was there anything, little engine that you were saying to yourself, like we're in service, or I think I can.
Definitely.
Like, just keep making bracelets or keep making necklaces. What is it? What are you thinking about?
We also hit kind of a critical time in 2008 through about 2010 where, the bottom fell out of the economy.
Sure.
And that was a very big driving force. My husband at the time lost his job. We went through a lot of crisis financially and leaning into this thing that was it made me feel really good. But also it was kind of bigger picture than myself and my little issues, but also the answer to my problems. There were so many times when I felt like I just wanted someone to say to me, it's going to be okay.
Sure.
And so it was like, they always say like, there's that thing in entrepreneurship or that thing when you're creating a product where it's like, what is the problem that you're fixing? And to me, that was deeply rooted in it. Like, what is the problem that you're fixing? Which is like, you're not alone. You're going to be okay. And that too, I had to put food on the table. I had to feed my family. And I went through a bankruptcy and a foreclosure.
Wow.
And really it was a scary, scary time. And I had this really beautiful thing that brought so much light to my life. And I felt like if I could just work really, really hard at this, that it's going to pay off somehow. That energy I'm putting out there is going to pay off. And, Allison felt it too. There was a lot of fear around her husband's work. And as the two of us were stay-at-home moms, we were dependent on our husbands for our finances. So that was a big one.
Yeah. Wow. At what point was there enough success in the business that the burden was lightened? It seems like it's common stories that, we never take any money out of the business. We've, it's been growing, the top line's growing, but like everything's reinvested.
Yeah.
At what point did you feel secure enough to take money out or had enough to even begin paying yourselves?
Yeah.
Was it immediately at the very least?
No, we didn't pay ourselves for at least the first 4 years.
Wow.
And we were lucky. As I said,
Sure.
we had spouses that were supporting us.
Yeah.
And then somewhere around once we started selling the jewelry, we started making enough money. And I think about 2017, I was making enough money and then of course I had gone through a divorce at that point. So I was making enough money to support myself and my children around 2017. And, that was just like the greatest thing ever, it was more than I could have asked for, to be able to have that experience and to have it be something that we created, that I could live off of and I could support my children through with, and my kids could see that. My kids could see how you can completely fall down flat on your face and pick yourself back up again and keep going. I'm so proud of that.
I see you. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank
My
you.
goodness. Thank you for sharing. So it's around 2017. It's around 2018.
Mm-hmm.
From you strung your first stone onto what you said, a fabric cord. No fabric on this table.
No, yeah, it is. It's all nylon cord.
Oh, it is nylon.
Mm-hmm. It's all nylon.
Wow.
Yep.
So what do I know?
Yeah.
Nylon. I'm
Can't
thinking
tell.
like
Cotton.
Yeah, like something bigger, like a lacrosse strings were made out of nylon, and those are like thick things. So this is nylon.
Yeah.
All right, I would just imagine some sort of like tiny metal. All right, so nylon, you sort out, we're going to make these necklaces. You have 4. Someone in California says, send me all. What does it even mean to be repped? So let's talk about some of the mechanics.
Okay.
Early day mechanics and how it's changed or evolved over the years.
Yeah. So initially our business was about, around this time, like 2017, 2018, it was about 85% wholesale.
Okay.
And we were with a rep group. They had...
And this is common language if you're doing wholesale. You have a rep group.
You have a rep group.
And they get you into
different
trade
for like
shows
foods.
Okay.
They have something else, but for product-based businesses, generally you have a rep group, or you have several rep groups, or you have reps all over the country who aren't in a group.
Got it.
This happened to be a rep group. They were like Colorado West, and they had, I want to say, like 17 to 20 reps within this group. And these people would have relationships with all these stores, and they would go into the stores and say, look at the lines I carry. Do you want to buy any of these lines? And the stores would say yes or no.
Wow.
And then there would be twice a year, they had a showroom in Los Angeles. They also had a showroom in Las Vegas, and they would do shows. And, a lot of people would come, the stores would come and shop those shows and, do their purchasing for the year.
Wow. So that's a relatively new model for perhaps the listener, and just work like gangbusters. I mean, you have 20 or so people selling you all the time across the West Coast, and it immediately spoke to people, or they were like, it's cute, but they don't know how to make it.
It's good.
Packaging.
They liked them. What they liked about it was that they were handmade in the United States. And that we were really concerned with making sure that each one of our stones are good quality stones, and they are what we say they are.
Is that common?
Yeah. Yeah.
Meaning it's common that people say that it's whatever and it's not.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would never know how to tell.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
And that's how they get you. Because you don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we actually now have somebody on staff, or when he's not on staff, we pay him here and there to. He's a Gemological Institute graduate alumni, and he comes in and tests all of our stones to make sure that they are what we say they are.
Wow.
Yeah, because the vendors will also just sell you stuff, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah." It's this, and you're like,
this is for sure gold.
Glass. so yes, yeah.
Hello, are you watching on YouTube, listening on your favorite podcast player? If you're not on YouTube, perhaps consider it, because behind us you would notice that we are in an absolutely beautiful space, and that space is our season sponsor, Ernest Warehousing. And so if you're not familiar with Ernest, it is fantastic. I am joined here by my wife, Sarah Ubertaccio, founder of QB Cucina, and one of Ernest's newest clients.
Yeah, excited to be back on the podcast.
Great to have you back. Episode 110 if you haven't listened before. But what we want to talk about today is why you chose Ernest and what makes Ernest stand out, let's say, compared to finding a new office space in town to fulfill from. As a very high level, Ernest is a 30,000 square foot facility on Sweeten Creek, just south of Asheville. Huge facility, beautiful facility. Why did you choose to go with Ernest instead of any other place in Asheville?
Yeah, well, I have a small growing business, e-commerce. We sell pasta tools and Italian kitchenware. And we currently outgrew the space that we were in and really needed a different kind of space. And so I love Ernest. I love the fact that as we grow, Ernest can scale with us. So they have different sized co-warehousing spaces. So if we grow bigger, we can just quickly move over to a different space within the same building, which is a really huge time saver. I also really love that they have daily, sometimes multiple times a day, pickups from UPS, FedEx, and USPS. So we don't have to worry about packages getting lost or stolen, and our team doesn't have to drop them off at the post office, and it just saves us all a bunch of time and headache. And also they have temperature controlled rooms, which for a business like us, one of our products is pasta flour. It's really sensitive to temperature. It's really, really important for us to make sure that our products are secure and not getting damaged while they're being stored in our warehouse. And I love all the other amenities. They have a photography studio so we can quickly photograph our products. They have a full break room. They have co-working space that we're able to use for our meetings with team members and other people that may come to see us. And then just the sense of community, being around other small businesses is something that we currently don't have. And I'm really, really looking forward to connecting with others here.
I love that. ErnestReadyMade.com if you've not visited that before, or you can check out makingitinasheville.com/Ernest. And we have a bunch of information about the partnership we've built for this season, as well as some perhaps special discounts and incentives. If you happen to be a e-commerce business or the right fit for Ernest, you should definitely check out makingitinasheville.com/Ernest, ERNEST. And back to the episode.
I know I backed us up.
No.
I jumped us forward.
No. So I'm like, should I ask about stones? Let me ask you about stones.
Yeah.
What, Stone 101, gemstones or precious stones 101.
Yeah.
What do we think about when we think about stones? You said you were studying them
Yeah.
deeply, and that's how this happened.
Mm-hmm.
What does even studying stones mean?
So, I think there has been a resurgence around crystals.
Sure. I mean, the place right in downtown.
Oh my gosh.
Underneath.
Yeah.
It used to be Old North underneath East Fork. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, there's like 5 stone shops now too
wow.
in Asheville. It's incredible, and they're very busy. People are really into crystals, and I think that speaks to a lot of things, just kind of where we're at and looking for hope wherever we can find it. I think crystals, you can look at it 2 ways. And one, just right off the bat, they're beautiful.
Sure.
They're lovely to look at. And so if nothing else, they're just beautiful. They're nice to wear around your neck or wear in your ears or wear on your wrist. They're beautiful. We've always had a love for beautiful, sparkly, glittery things, women in particular. But I think with the stones, there's 2 ways you can look at it. One is that, there's a very sort of quantum way to look at it, which is, that everything vibrates. And that really is true. This chair isn't a solid chair. It's vibrating. Everything has a vibration. And crystals are millions of years old, and they all vibrate differently. And, if you are into it and, you believe in that kind of thing, we have chakras. The different colored crystals line up with the different chakras, the different parts of your body, being around those crystals and their vibrations. I would never go so far as to say that a crystal could heal you, but I would say that, it can help you to heal yourself and help you realign yourself. I would also say that, even if you don't buy into any of that, which isn't my place to judge whether you buy that or not, there is such a huge power around belief.
Yeah, fact.
And if someone says to you, this is going to give you courage, or this is going to bring love into your life, or this is going to, help you celebrate something, you're going to look at that, you're going to feel it, and it's going to affect you. It is. And so I'm good with either way.
Sure. I love that as an answer. I don't necessarily remember the book Life of Pi perfectly, and forgive me for stretching on a metaphor that may or may not be accurate, but my takeaway from that book was like, yeah, it was a chimpanzee and a tiger, and we were on a boat, and or it was my mom and a chef from the boat. Both can be true. It's like, which one do you want?
Yeah.
Which one works for you?
Yeah.
And it seems perfectly, I'll say, reasonable. And placebo effect is a known
a thing. Yeah.
and accounted for in most scientific. So even if you're like, no, science.
Yeah.
Placebo is a real thing. And you find what you're looking for. Like you see what you're looking for every day. So I'm into that. When thinking about stones and chakra and aligning, and that's a little outside of my capacity, but I mean, we're not talking about a lot of stone here.
No.
And it, so the effect is large. I mean, because they're beautiful. And so let's just say that everything's beautiful, but like, is a ruby have a shot, like,
has a different vibration. A ruby has a different vibration than a black onyx. Yeah. And a black onyx has a different vibration than a rose quartz. And it is my belief that, this information is not, we're not making this up.
Sure.
There's a lot of information out there, and sort of an agreed upon rose quartz is for love. Ruby is for delight, or know what I mean? It's there. Yeah.
And so, I mean, YouTube watchers are getting more than perhaps the podcast here, but it seems like each of these have some sort of, I don't want to say like call to action, but they're pointing towards some feeling, some deliverable, and it's not made up by SoulKu.
No.
Okay. That's good.
No, it's not. It's not. And I've always been an incredibly symbolic person. I really like the idea that something can represent something else, like a simplified version of something. And so I think these help us to distill down an idea, because you could look at, something like tourmaline, right? This is rainbow tourmaline, and there are lots of different colors in rainbow tourmaline. And you could look this up on the internet, and it will tell you probably 6 to 10 different properties that rainbow tourmaline has. So we take a look at it. We go to like 12 different sources. We, really do the research on it and figure out which one is the most the majority of the different sites or the different people say that this is what this is for. And then we try and find, if like tourmaline is for like happiness and celebration and joy, and like, so what are we going to call this, so that when someone's in a store setting or on our website and they're like, I have this friend who is incredibly depressed. What can I get for them to make them feel better? And so then it'll be a good word that, they can just immediately say, oh yes, happiness, that's what they're looking for.
I love it. I mean, is this the initial concept? Was you little cuts in that let it hang?
Uh-huh.
This is how it's always been?
Yeah.
Beautiful. This one's Beautiful Mom, Milky Aquamarine, which, so my wife, Sarah.
Yes.
When we studied abroad in college, the name of my apartment was Aqua Marina. All of the apartment names were precious stones, but we didn't know that. So I thought my roommate for the whole summer leading up to this study abroad, I thought his last name was Aqua Marina. And I go, I can't wait to meet this guy. Like, I'm going to call him Aquaman. I already know his nickname. Like, this is going to be the best roommate ever.
Right.
Was Aquaman. And now all these years later, this is a supportive stone that reduces stress, quiets the mind, and nurtures the heart. How beautiful. Beautiful mom.
Beautiful mom. That's what every mom needs.
I'm going home with it. So
Quiet.
this is going to be Sarah's now.
You go home with that.
This is Sarah's now. And then continuing down on the front page, we have Mama Made with Love by Handwritten Melanie. Tell us more about this. It seemed like you got there and then I walked us back.
Yeah.
So your neighbors and friends and other stay-at-home moms were helping. This was early days.
Yeah.
How has that affected the model?
I mean, I think that's everything. It's everything. There are lots of carded jewelry lines. We're certainly not the only one or the first one. But our business model of stay-at-home moms making all of our pieces is, the central, I don't know what you call that, the spoke in the wheel, or not the spoke, but whatever that is. It's what sets our business apart. And so basically we have our workforce. We've had up to, I think, 36 mamas working at one time. Now we have about 22. And it just sort of varies depending on the season and depending on, what our demand is. But they come into our offices once a week. They pick up a box of raw materials and sort of an order form that says, this is what I need you to make this week. They take it home and they do it on their own time. So they don't have to pay for childcare. They don't have to leave their kids. They don't have to go outside their home to bring in a nice financial addition to their home. So that's been just, I think, one of the most rewarding pieces of all of it is to provide that kind of work for young stay-at-home mom, not even young. I mean, just, moms that are dealing with kids. Yeah.
And I think back to one of the truest statements ever, but also happened to happen just maybe 20 minutes ago, was the idea that entrepreneurs are trying to solve a problem. I think often the best, perhaps not entrepreneurs, but best businesses are started in an effort to solve one's own problems, like a realized problem, not a concept of a problem.
Right.
Like you'll see like 19-year-old entrepreneurs trying to solve problems that they have no experience with, but they go, oh, it's a big market. We can do a thing in this big market and that'll be great.
Yeah.
So you clearly have no idea what the customer needs.
Right.
What you seem to have created is the feelings that you wanted to feel for people.
Yeah.
As well as, the income that you probably would have liked to have had early days.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. 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 It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I am so honored, and I know Allison is as well. And we always talk about it, just how fantastic it is that we have been led in this direction to be able to do something like this, where we can be in service to people at large, our wonderful SoulKu family of fans and people who purchase from us, and also to be in service to these moms who are able to put their kids to bed at night, or pick them up from, their sports practice, or take them to school in the morning, or have dinner with them, or have lunch with them, or work while they're napping, or work while they're at a play date. We used to have a group of moms who would all get together and make stuff together while their kids played. It was just
smart.
It works.
Infused with love, song, and prayer, handcrafted by moms in Asheville, North Carolina. I mean, this is lovely, beautiful.
Thank you.
What, if anything, in like, let's say up to pandemic days, right? So the first time we met would have been 2019, early 2020. Yeah. What up to that point would you say were some of the more strategic choices that y'all made? It seems in some ways this is kind of like kismet and persistence, and all of a sudden you catch a slick. You're like, oh, this is we're going to do jewels or gems or stones and these beautiful, thoughtful cards.
Yeah.
Can you do any choices that were made that feel particularly strategic, worked out, or maybe didn't work out in those early days?
Yeah. So around 2017, 2018, we worked with a company to help us be cohesive in our branding. And it was their idea to kind of create the structure of the cards so that when these sat on a shelf, you would see if they're, layered like this or sitting on a shelf, you're going to see this. And then you're going to look at the rest of it so that like immediately it's like, oh, I get what this is. These are like healing properties. I understand that. Then we kind of left this up to the imagination. We can trade this out. We can, I can design this any way that I want, within some boundaries. We're always going to have this swash that explains the healing properties a little bit more. And then it was their idea to have the mamas sign these.
Beautiful.
And that really...
The maker's mark, so to
speak.
And
I believe, I'm trying to remember, I think they signed the back of them up until that point, but then to have them sign the front of them just really puts it front and center. The other thing that we did was, another sort of kismet-y thing. A woman contacted us and she said, I saw your jewelry at a store in San Diego. My husband is he helps entrepreneurs grow their businesses, scale their businesses. Would you be willing to take a phone call with him? And we were like, sure, we'll talk to anybody. And we had this phone call with this really wonderfully odd dude who said, like, I think I can help you. And so he said, like, what are you doing for digital advertising? And at that point, we had gone through about 5 or 6 different companies, people who were like, I can do this thing. And it didn't move the dial at all. And
this is in like...
This is 2019
this is prime 19.
Now. This is about 2019.
All right. It's starting to get harder to run ads on Instagram, Facebook at that point. But like if it's 2014, 15, 16, I feel like it was... They were just giving people what they want. Yeah. Giving businesses what they wanted.
Yes. We were really... we were like doubling in size every year.
Wow.
We kept doubling in size. That was awesome. We grew just at the pace that we could keep up with. We then got this all right. And then in about 2019, maybe late 2018, early 2019, we signed with this guy, and he introduced us to a digital advertising agency, and they started running Facebook and Instagram ads for us. And we went from doing $17,000 a month online to $170,000 in 3 weeks.
And you're like, get me more stones quick.
Yes.
Mamas.
We were like, mamas, help us. So it was bananas. It was really, really incredible.
What is the relationship with an ad agency that's able to turn on a fire hose like that? Are they tying themselves to new revenue, or
No, they were just costs? They were doing well. They were like, they'll charge us like a certain fee that was a fixed cost until you had like a large ad spend. Like I think their ad spend at that point was like over $30,000. Then it would be like 15% of their ad spend.
Got it.
And we were happy to do it. I mean, and 6 weeks before that or a month before that, if you had said you guys are going to be spending, $40 to $80, $90,000 on ads a month, we would have been like, "You're high." No,
What
no,
stones
we will
have
not.
you been
Exactly.
It's the wrong stone, buddy.
That's not it. But yeah, that happened, and we just and you could gather data.
Yeah.
You could, retarget people.
Yeah.
You could do all of the amazing things that you can no longer do at that point.
Yeah.
And so it was just wonderful. It was such a great time. I mean, it was a great, great time. It was really, really fun. Lots of energy around the business at that point, and then the iOS changes happened, which was that, Apple changed their operating systems on their phones. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of, screeched that all to a real halt, because you could say you don't want to receive ads.
Yeah.
You could say you don't want to be tracked. You could say no one can have my data. You could say I'm not interested in being a part of a group that, is targeted.
Yeah.
And so that then, the faucet kind of turned back off again.
What was, are there any thoughts that you have about that time and saying like, ooh, we might have missed a thing? Like I'm guessing, and I probably shouldn't guess, but if the ads are working like crazy, your customer list is growing, right? Because
huge
revenue is a thing.
Yes.
So customers mean email subscribers, if only in transactional emails.
Yes.
Would you, in hindsight, have like tried for more like lead capture and like blow the email list out even bigger than just customers? Like it's just an OS change meant no new people or fewer new faces.
Fewer new faces. We worked our list really hard. We always thought like he who has the biggest list, come Black Friday wins kind of thing. And we worked our list really hard. At the height of our list, I think we had almost 400,000 people on our list. It was nuts.
Wow. What provider were you using at that scale? Klaviyo.
Yeah.
Okay.
We worked all the flows.
That's a huge list. It
was a huge list,
400K,
right? It was
crazy.
So
you've since pruned it, it sounds.
It was huge. Yeah. And that's something you have to go do. Yeah. A lot of people come in and don't ever come back. And, that is the way that it is. We've been incredibly fortunate in that there is a large piece of our business, which is return business. Yeah. And we have some really rabid fans. Like we have amazing, amazing customers who, have spent $6,000-$7,000 with us at like $35 a pop over the course of 6 years.
And that's an individual. It's not like a boutique.
That's an individual. That's an individual.
Beautiful.
And so when we look at our numbers,
I mean, if you scale that to a business that's selling expensive things, it's an astronomical number. So
right? Yeah, we were selling lawnmowers or washing machines or something like that. Yeah,
incredible. So the net promoter score on that person is like off. It's higher than 10. It's 100.
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. And we still have those customers, and they are wonderful. I definitely think we've had a shakeup since the iOS changes. We've had a shakeup since the pandemic, in different ways. Yeah. We feel very strongly still that we have a hit. And that while we're not doing the numbers that we were doing in 2019, 2020, as our real focus these days is bringing in new customers. and hoping to convert those customers into those long time customers.
Yeah.
And so it's an ongoing search and like how to best do that. And that has been really our challenge for the last, I'd say, 2 years.
We interrupt this episode with a horror story, an e-commerce horror story that my wife, Sarah Ubertaccio, experienced, but I'm going to preface, she's not alone. You might be an e-commerce store owner. You might have a friend who's an e-commerce store owner. And this story is universal, though specific. Sarah, please take it away.
Yeah, well, I own a small business called QB Cucina, and we sell Italian pasta tools and kitchenware. And in our previous space where we were fulfilling from, one day my employee was packaging up a bunch of packages to ship via UPS, and UPS did not pick up from this location. And so she was going to package them up and take them out to the car and drive them to UPS. Well, it was raining a lot that day.
As it tends to here in Asheville.
Yes, as it tends to here in Asheville. And on her way, taking the dolly out to her car, some packages flew off the dolly, were soaking wet. She was soaking wet. And then she had to repackage them, like go back up to the office and repackage them because they were ruined and couldn't be shipped out. So, yeah.
And I'm so sorry to hear that story. That's a heartbreaker. Now you don't have to worry about that happening anymore because you work at Ernest Ready-Made Warehouse and they have daily pickups and deliveries from FedEx, UPS, and USPS.
Yes, it's like suddenly we have a valet and concierge at our fingertips, which is amazing. They have daily pickups from all the major shipping carriers, and they have a huge loading dock so we can receive our shipments very easily 24 hours of the day, every day of the week, which is amazing.
To learn more about Ernest Ready-Made Warehouse, visit makingitinasheville.com/Ernest, ERNEST. We have all sorts of information about this season, about our sponsor, Ernest Ready-Made, and offer a very special incentive for those of you who are small business owners in Asheville who could benefit from this facility. Back to the episode. Hey, what a thrill ride. And,
such a thrill ride, right?
Amazing. What, I remember in the calendar year 2020, I want to say that there was a like spin the wheel lead opt-in on the website.
Yes.
Right. And so like, let's talk about just some bells and whistles that have been, rung and blown over the years that either worked and quit working or that you're thinking about now. And when in part, so it's like, all right, so opt-in thing on the website.
Yeah.
Today, I'm watching your Instagram story about an upcoming perhaps Instagram live sales experience.
Yeah.
So like what tactics have come and gone and which ones are kind of persistent?
Yeah, I would say when we signed on with that digital agency, the first thing that they said to us was like, you've got to put up the Wheel of Fortune wheel. And we were like, no way. No, that's not our customer. Like we're trying to get like anthropology customers. No, we're not doing that. And then somehow they talked us into it. We did it. And that's what grew that list.
Yeah.
I mean, no question. That's what grew that list. People wanted to spin the wheel. And
it was something like
they got
5%, 10%, 20%. It was like something.
Right. And they got the same thing.
It was always the same thing.
It was always
That's
the same
how it
thing. And
worked.
they got the same, but they signed up and they liked it.
Yeah.
So it worked. That was a great thing. Then about maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that stopped being really, people weren't doing it nearly as much. And we found that we were getting less signups that way. And so we took it off and just did like a regular pop-up. That really worked for us for a time for signups. I'd say more recently, as you were mentioning, the Instagram live sales, I really feel very strongly that the way that e-commerce is going, if you have a product-based business, you need to figure out a way to sell live.
So talk to me through this. Okay, because it's I agree. The parallel for me is like QVC at night. Grandma would call my mom, be like, Lulu, we got to get this thing. Like, so there is something, it's not new.
Yeah.
Right. But the technical perhaps is new. So like how are you thinking about it? I've seen versions where, you post a picture of a product and then say, Venmo me and with the money and ask for the thing. So there's a bunch of ways you could execute it from, Venmo transactions to something more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Where are you today?
Well, we're in an interesting spot. So we have a big ERP system, which runs SoulKu as far as inventory and as far as customer management for our wholesale. It's called NetSuite.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a big, robust program.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. And we bought into it with the idea that we were going to continue on the growth trajectory that we were on. And it makes things a little bit challenging. It makes it difficult to add products. It takes a long time to add a new product. It's not an easy thing because you have to build out these things called bombs, and it has to be one piece from here, one piece from there, one piece from there. This comes from here, that comes from here. And it takes about an hour to build out one product in NetSuite.
Brutal.
And NetSuite ties into our Shopify.
Okay.
So we have a catalog of things that we have on our Shopify and that we sell for wholesale. But those things aren't nearly as exciting as what we have found, which is like every couple of weeks or maybe once a month, we will offer this thing called a superpower, which is like a limited edition necklace or bracelets that we only have 100 of, and so those will sell out on Saturdays. But we wanted to figure out a way to do live sales. Like we were seeing some other companies do them, and mostly they were crystal companies. We hadn't seen any jewelry. I think we saw one or two jewelry companies doing some live sales, but they were really rudimentary and, kind of like, I don't even know what they're doing. NetSuite kind of prohibited us from doing easy live sales. So what we do is we have kind of made a workaround, and we do between 5 and 20 different things that you can't get on our website. 5 and 20, the number. We do 5 and 20 necklaces of something that you're not going to see on our site. You can't get it again. You're not going to, and then we'll do probably, I think on our live sale tomorrow, I think we have like 35 styles, maybe of these 5 to 10 pieces, 5 to 20 pieces. And in order to buy them, you go on to our Instagram, it'll pop up, you can sign up to get a reminder. It'll say it's Instagram, SoulKu's going live on Instagram, and you tune in and you kind of watch the show, and we present them. We talk about the healing properties of each one, and people will just claim them in the comments. So they claim them in the comments, and we have a big table that has a bunch of little buckets in them. You put the person's Instagram handle in it, you stick the card in the bucket, and you move on to the next thing. Unfortunately, then, we have built out these sort of dummy products in NetSuite that go through. And so we have to create individual invoices for everybody that orders. So that's very time consuming. And so right now we're trying to figure out a different way around that that allows us to do that much more easily. We worked for a little while with a company called Livecom that allowed us to do like live broadcasts on our website.
Okay.
And we could also turn those into like sellable product videos. So if you went to our product page, you could see a little video and you could buy it from there. But it just didn't have the power that the Instagram reach has. And, you had to RSVP for the sale, and it just, that did not end up working for us.
Interesting. I'm just, I haven't been on a live recently. What is the ability to throw links into a live chat?
We could do that. We could do that because all of our stuff is like basically like in a store on Instagram.
Yeah.
But that would limit us to our catalog. instead of all of these one-of-a-kinds
Sure.
and all of these like unique ones, which is really, I think, what's driving people, because you go to our site at any time and buy those. So this is a new experience. It's new. It's different. Yeah.
My wheels are turning. Like, is there like a...
I know.
Like maybe there needs to be another account, but then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, then you're going to have a lookalike account that's going to be tricking people.
Yeah.
But like if there was like, SoulKu's special sales or whatever, DMs the person who comments, it's a link to a checkout page on your site, L, and it's, but then you have to do the inventory thing. And are you running 2 inventories and you're going to use Stripe for these transactions versus NetSuite?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a little complicated, but I think, we're doing everything we can to try and figure out how to make it easier, because I really think it's the thing now. If you have a e-com business and you're not doing live sales, I think you're really missing out on a lot of... And the people talk to each other. They form community around it. They know us.
Yeah.
We did like a birthday sale for me in June, and everybody was like, "Happy birthday!" And we know the people who are claiming the things over and over and over again. And the other thing that we've been working with since about March is a brand ambassador program.
So this is interesting to me because I'm absolutely in love with the mama model. Like it's so compelling. It's so on brand.
And it means so much more now to you.
Oh, for sure.
Because you get it.
Yeah. I mean, I get it in a way that I couldn't have in the past, but like always was compelling, always was powerful. And then it made me think of like, Tupperware, and the difference was labor force versus Salesforce.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like builders versus like who's going to go out and be like, ring the bell, say, come on in. We're having a party and you're going home with a necklace and you're going home with Christmas presents and you're going like, and so talk to me about the ambassador program. What's it look like today?
It's interesting. We are working with a company called Brandbassador.
Great names for some of the companies that you work with.
They're really cool.
You said some other company name, and I was like, that's a good name for it too.
Yeah. Brandbassador. So they are out of the UK, and they have a really great model. And it was designed by a company who had their own ambassador program and all the issues. Same thing that you were saying. They solved the problem that they had, which was like, how do you manage ambassadors and pay them and all of that sort of stuff. So they have an app, and we set up our company on their app. If you want to apply to be an ambassador for us, you just download the app. We have missions that we send you on, where it's like, make your first sale, or like us on Instagram, or create your promo code, or, that kind of thing. Tell us a story about your SoulKu. And the really cool thing about Brandbassador is that as you join them as a brand, there are lots of other brands that they have. And so when your ambassador comes in, like people who have loved SoulKu forever and want to be our brand ambassador, they join that platform. They are now eligible to try and become an ambassador for 40 other brands.
Cool.
And so we have a constant influx of new people who don't know anything about our product, don't know anything about our company, who are wanting to become ambassadors for us. And that's what they do.
Yeah. How does it seems like it feels different than just, a more traditional like
influencer
or affiliate model, right? So like a ClickBank type of infrastructure. Sometimes it has a tendency to create spam culture where like people are like, oh, I'm just going to put on my parameters and drive traffic to the site, and it's bad traffic or whatever it is. Seems like a standard deviation from a traditional affiliate model and some sort of a nebulous influencer marketing. I imagine you've tested influencer at some point?
A little bit, micro influencers, and we just didn't feel like, I think those people need to be vetted. And that's one of the things that Brand Ambassador allows us to do to a certain extent. Sure. If someone's applying to become an ambassador for our brand, they have to register at the website. It connects all their social media to it. They have to write us like, why would you be a good SoulKu ambassador? You know, we can look through their stuff and see like this is not our person, or like, this is totally our person. And even if they only have 1,400 followers, this is a mom, she gets it, she's into crystals, you know, that's a great ambassador for us. And so that's been super cool that we can, and then when they do things for us, when they create UGC, like they'll get a free product and we'll ask them to create something for us, we can rate it. And it's not a rating that they see. Sure. And then we can, when we have other projects come up that we're like, we need some UGC for the new launch of this line.
This person got a 10 twice.
Yeah. We're going to send it to that person. So it's great. You know, it's a little bit frustrating sometimes to remember that it does take people like 11 times, I think, to see something before they buy it, at least.
Sure.
And so sometimes there are ambassadors that literally they'll just like throw up a picture and be like, I got this from SoulKu, here's my thing, get 15% off. And that's not what we're looking for. Sure. But it's another one of those hits. And it's like, if it's out there, you know, it's just another, you know, tally.
Yeah. So UGC, user generated content, in case you were Googling it at home. And then one of my favorite advertisements of all time was, so here's the issue with sometimes good ads, is that you remember the ad and you don't remember who it was for. But I want to say it was like Blimpie. It might have been Blimpie, but it was a sandwich place. And they're like, there's a guy working at a deli counter and he's at the slicer. And he goes, this big time ad agency that we're working with. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm like sawing the deli meat. Told us that our name needed to be seen 13 times by a customer before they shop with us. So anyway, and like as he's slicing, the shirt is saying the name of the whatever Blimpie. Right. And it says Blimpie.
That's
as he's
awesome.
Talking about this ad. And he goes, well, we'll see you at Blimpie. You know, or what.
Right.
So that worked, right?
Yeah. You know, and it's tough to make it. It's like buying a hairdryer, like a vacuum cleaner. It's like you don't want to spend money on a billboard to get, because you can't track it and you don't know. And it's somewhere back in somebody's head somewhere. And then all of a sudden they go, gosh, I've seen that everywhere. What is that?
Yeah.
It's that, I don't love to spend money on that, but it's necessary.
Anything else on the cutting room floor, tactic or strategy wise?
Gosh, I'm probably so many things.
I think the brand. How many brand? Do you have a sense of how many brand ambassadors there have been in the last couple months? Like, what are you up to?
Gosh, probably about 400.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it ramped up relatively quickly. In part, I imagine, because brand ambassadors.
Yes, because of
sponsor the season. We got some other businesses you can talk to.
That's right. Because of that. I mean, I'll go in there every morning, and there will be like 5 to 10 new people wanting to apply.
Just tracked on the back end and some sort of like conversion tracking pixel thing?
I mean, they get codes.
Yeah.
So but yes,
so
it's all tracked.
It's at checkout.
Their codes. But Brand Ambassador also handles all of the payments to these people. We also do like rewards. You can get points. You can also get free SoulKu product for freebies, but also you can earn points towards free SoulKu product. And they have all of that taken care of, which I think would have been somebody's full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
For 300 ambassadors or 400 ambassadors.
And the ramping to that number seemed like a crazy operational
nightmare
burden.
Yes.
Cool. We're halfway-ish through 2023. What are you looking forward to? I imagine holiday is a whirlwind for y'all, but what are you thinking about when you think about the rest of the year?
Yeah. Allison and I just had our meeting, like our halfway through the year meeting, and like, what do we want? What do we want to accomplish this year? We're still, of course, working to always drive sales, drive new customer acquisition, share our story with more people, keep remembering what we're doing this for and why we started in the first place, keep going back to the mission of being in service, and really like seeing how far we can get this year. Just like really, we're going to hustle for the next 6 months. And, this year we've had a downturn, which I think last year as well, not doing, and of course, like during the pandemic, while wholesale completely tanked, online flourished and grew. We've gone through a couple of different agencies. We're back to the agency that we left that got us where they got us, and hoping that they're gonna help us get a little bit more back on track. It's been a weird couple of years. Gas prices, food prices, this is expendable income kind of stuff. So I think people are more hesitant to spend now than they have been. Growth is the goal. Growth is the goal.
I'm excited. When thinking about, I guess, early days, I think you said there was like an 80-20 maybe wholesale to retail. What does the e-commerce portion of your business look like today in terms of a percentage? Do you have a sense?
It's about, we have been selling on Amazon Handmade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's another, sorry.
Yeah, that's new.
That's a
new
big thing. Yeah, that's a new tactic.
How do we feel about it? Because I know we've had...
Interesting. We feel interesting about it. Our beautiful friends at Moonlight Makers,
right.
Said, like, meet our people. And so we went with the agency that they've been using. And they're great. It's an interesting space. It's a really interesting space. There's a lot of pieces of the pie that people take out to hold the stuff, to keep the stuff, to sell the stuff, to advertise the stuff. The margins are very, very small. But that is about the reason that I say that then. So that's about 20% of our business. I think the retail different in revenue versus...
I was going to say top line versus bottom line. So that 20% of your sales is coming through that.
Yeah, 20% of our sales is coming from that. 30% of our sales is 30 to 35% of our sales is online, and the rest of it is wholesale right now.
So almost a 50-50 at this point.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, compelling. And in the, this kind of like, for lack of I don't want to duct tape together Instagram Live sales experience, does that represent a large enough portion that you think even this duct tape portion makes sense? Or is it just so exciting as like a selling experience and community building experience that it makes sense because people are very engaged for that hour or whatever it is?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Okay.
That's a really good question. It's very compelling. We sell a lot of stuff. We do it in 3 hours once a month.
3 hours once a month. I'll double click on that. 3 hours once a month. My mind, I go, you said 5 to 25 things. I'm like, is that 25 total units or 25 SKUs?
No. So we'll do all told, we'll probably do about 50 SKUs.
Okay.
But each one of those, there could be 5 of one, there could be 12, there could be 20 of them.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, because I'm like 25 things, you guys sell that out in a split second. It seems mine.
Yeah, there's over 300 actual units that we will sell in 3 hours. It's a great
high velocity 3 hours compared to a random other set of 3 hours. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. It's awesome. It is really exciting. And I really think there's huge room for growth there. And I see so many other companies doing it now. And I just think that's...
Yeah, my spidey sense tingles on that. And I almost always am thinking about my wife, Sarah. And I'm like, ooh. But it seems that a critical part of it is not just that we're selling products today at this particular day. It's that these are unique, special, somehow one-off, or hard. You can't get them any other time. And my gut says it's not compelling enough to have standard product randomly discounted on this particular Saturday, because price floor is a price ceiling in a lot of ways.
Yeah. But, she could import some amazing olive oil. She could import more consumable kind of things that
have to move
and also are exciting and can be used with the products that she makes.
OMG. Sarah, that was free too. Oh my gosh. I think that's that closed a loop in my brain on how to think about these online real-time selling experiences.
Yeah. And wow. I mean, we have done shows where we've just cleared out stuff that we don't sell anymore.
Yeah. Which I feel like would be her first swing at it, is all right, some stuff that wasn't necessarily moving, we're going to move it.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not, why would they come back the next time?
Right.
Or that's not,
and
it can't just be discount the stuff.
Yeah.
I really so make it special.
But also, I think it's that I really think I'm not highlighting enough the community aspect to it, where the consumer, the I hate to call them that, the customers, our SoulKu family gets to talk to each other. They get to chat. They're chatting in the comments to each other.
What kind of stuff are they saying? I love.
They're oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, congratulations, you got that. Man, I could really use that. I had a rough day. Oh, me too. What's your sign? There's they're chatting, and it's super cool. And I think people want to buy from people, that's the thing. It's people want to buy from people. They want to buy from people. And so it's another opportunity, not just to tell your story, but to it's the whole Kardashians thing. You think you know them, bringing that element in where people really feel like they're a part of your brand. They know who you are. And so, and Sarah is so lovely, and she is. And people would want to know her and know what made her so passionate about this, and know her story and know her as a mom, and know, you know what I mean? It's just that personal connection, and that's why, besides the fact that I think our products are fantastic quality, they last forever, you can wear them forever, all of that great stuff. It's the personal connection.
Yeah.
It's the personal connection.
And then times it by people buy from people, and they don't buy things, they buy stories. And they have the story of, oh my God, I was up at whenever because my time zone, and I got it. And
they have an experience. Yeah.
Dang. Well, e-commerce season of the Making It in Asheville podcast. Lot to consider if you're an e-commerce brand in Asheville.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything on your heart, mind that we haven't got to? You're when I'm on the podcast, I really want to make sure I say this thing.
No. I'm just so grateful that you had me do this. And, you guys, I've just always been such big fans of you and your wife. And I think it's just amazing what you guys have done here in Asheville. And it's just so cool. Oh. So I'm super grateful.
And thank you. Flattered. I feel like we are very much shined in the shadow of the giants in the community. So just trying to be a reflection back towards y'all. So thank you for that. If people were going to find you, there are going to be links everywhere, show notes, everywhere possible. But where would they look to find you on the internet?
So it's soulku.com, SOULKU.com. And I have a discount code.
People.
Discount code. Community.
Yes.
So the discount code is going to be Making It 20, and it'll be a 20% discount on everything on our site except for our limited editions.
Forever and ever, or for a limited time?
No, forever and ever.
Forever and ever. You heard it here first.
So if you're watching this and it's 5 years from today, it's still
Try
working.
It. Oh my goodness, man. I think that's awesome. That is so cool and so generous and so on brand. So on brand. Thank you.
Thank you.